Does your biceps look like this? Or your calves like that? Well, because you are watching this video, I would say that your answer was probably yes. But don't worry, it's not your fault. This is all dependent on your genetics. I'm sorry to say, but if your calves look like this, then there is really nothing that you can do to fix it. Maybe except for wearing knee-high socks. But if your biceps looks like this, then it's not lost just yet. I prepared some great tips that will help you to fix this problem. The reason why your biceps looks like this is obviously because of your genetics, as it is all dependent on the length of your biceps muscle belly. The longer the muscle belly is, the fuller and bigger your arms will look like. But the shorter it is, the bigger the gap will become. I actually have a very funny story about this that will explain a lot to you. When I started my bodybuilding journey over 10 years ago, I had a friend who started basically at the same time as me. So we used to go to the gym together pretty frequently. And after like a half a year of working out, we both made pretty similar progress to each other. But there was one very big difference, and it was the biceps. His biceps looked like massive mountain peaks, while mine looked more like the Sahara Desert. At that time, I had no idea why this was the case. I was just blaming it on my genetics. But as the years went on, my biceps got bigger and bigger, while his biceps stayed relatively the same. The moral of the story is this: when you have a very short biceps, it really doesn't take that much time to make it appear as a gigantic peak, because there is just not that much space to fill out. But it will be way more difficult for you to improve your biceps in the future. On the other hand, if your biceps muscle bellies are very long, it's going to take a very long time to fill it all out. But you have a much bigger potential in the future to make your biceps look absolutely gigantic. And that's exactly what happened with my friend and I. His biceps muscle bellies were very short, so his biceps started to look very big very quickly. But as the years went on, he couldn't really improve on it that much. But my biceps muscle bellies are very long, so my bicep looked like an absolute joke for years, and I thought that I was just doomed by my genetics. But it turned out that I just had to be patient. And after years of working out, I wouldn't be afraid to say that biceps became one of my best body parts. Which is absolutely crazy to say out loud, because at the start of my bodybuilding journey, I would say the exact opposite. So if your story sounds similar to mine, don't give up, it just takes time and patience. And if you are like my friend, you need to start doing what I'm about to explain to you right now. As we all know, when you have a very short biceps, the part that makes it look bad is this gigantic gap right here. Yeah, I know, but it's impossible for me to build muscle in this exact spot. Well, yeah, it might be impossible for you to build muscle right there. But what about building muscle around that area to cover up that big gap right there? Sounds like a pretty good idea, doesn't it? What you need to do to hide this gap is to focus on training your brachialis and brachioradialis. Training your brachialis will make your biceps quote-unquote expand, which will definitely help at least a little bit. But the main star of the show is the brachioradialis, which is directly next to the big gap that we are trying to get rid of. If you increase the size of it, it can basically fill out that big gap completely. This effect will be mainly noticeable from the front side when you are flexing like this. But I'm not gonna lie to you, when you start flexing your biceps like this, the gap will still be there. But if you get your brachioradialis meaty enough, it will definitely make it look way better when you are flexing like this. But I'm not gonna be like, guys, you can fix this in 5 minutes. No. As with everything else in bodybuilding, it takes time, a lot of it. Go with a slow and methodical approach and the results will come. You just need to be patient and consistent with your training. And when we are already talking about training, what exercises should you use to achieve this? My number one recommendation would be to start doing hammer curls, or curls with the overhand grip. These exercises will take care of both the brachialis and brachioradialis, which makes them basically an auto-include if you are dealing with the problem of having very short biceps muscle bellies. What you can also do is start incorporating some forearm training. One of the exercises that you can use is rice bucket training. It's pretty much a classic on this channel at this point, so I don't need to tell you about it again. In case you wanna know more, you can check out this video. Of course, you can also use other exercises like wrist curls or wrist extensions, but I see that more as something that you can add as a cherry on top. As the main thing that you should focus on are the before mentioned biceps exercises like the hammer curl or any other curl with the overhand grip. Even though you might not be able to make your biceps gap fully disappear, using the tips I told you today will for sure make it look way better than it was before. If you are looking for an easy to follow training or nutrition plan, then go to bodybuildingsimplified.com and get started today. So what are you waiting for? It's just that simple. And as always, a big thanks to all the supporters on my Patreon. Did you like this video? Then you will for sure like this one too.